Hello, I'm Laura Black, and
I'm Sally Dunham.
we are ambassadors with Women of the Midwest, an all women's travel group based in Lincoln, Nebraska. We can be found on Facebook. We have our own page. We also are on the web. That's womenofthemidwest.com/journeys. And today, well, we're going to tell you all about one fabulous trip walking the Cotswolds. And we have both led that trip as ambassadors. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about what you can expect, just highlighting one of our fabulous trips today. Sally, what should our Women of the Midwest travelers, why should they go on this fabulous trip?
Laura, I think the Cotswolds walking tour provides such a real fairy tale adventure. And you stroll through ancient villages in England. You can go, well, obviously you get great exercise because you're walking the Cotswolds and breathing in that wonderful country air that you do. When you go with a group of women travelers like this, there's that camaraderie that you just don't get in other tours, I'm sorry to say. But time to take and stop and take pictures, photos anytime that you want, historical sites. You listen to our great guide, Andrew, who is wonderful, and he'll tell us all about the history of this fabulous land.
You know, we mentioned the word ambassadors, and perhaps you're curious about what we're talking about. Well, Women of the Midwest is one of the rare travel groups that sends ambassadors along with each travel group. So from the minute you get to the airport and meet us, we're on the plane with you over to Heathrow, London in this case, and we are there with you when you return home to the United States. So you're well taken care of. Well, once we get to Heathrow, London on this trip, our fabulous guide, Andrew, is there to meet us. We gather our baggage and we head on the bus and we go off to our first destination. You know, one of the highlights of this trip is the city of Bath. It's on the way to the Cotswolds. You get to tour the ancient Roman baths. You can visit the sites of the great writer Jane Austen. And in your free time, well, you just might want to make a spa appointment at one of the city's fabulous modern thermal spas and get a nice relaxing massage. I think that sounds really good. Speaking of history, Sally.
Yes. Well, you know, Stonehenge is just like the next door stop from Bath. And Stonehenge is so interesting because it's one of those places that you go to, you see this, and you think, oh my goodness gracious, these huge, heavy, 25,000-pound stones, which is one of the least amount, propped on top of one another, and it's just an amazing place to visit, and you can. Well, it highlights the summer solstice, too, because of the shadows that are there and all the placement of these in a circular fashion. So they seem to create a place of worship.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you know, I think everyone who has gone to grade school since then, you've heard about Stonehenge. Well, this is your opportunity to finally get to see it. But that's not all. You know, right next door, one can also walk around the ancient site of Avebury. It's a Stonehenge. The Stonehenge actually gets all the glory, but this site is bigger. It's a Neolithic henge near the small village of Avebury that actually contains 3 stone circles, and here you can walk amongst the 3 and you can touch them. You can actually physically touch them, and you can walk through people's fields and pastures and see all the placements of the stones. Going back in time has never been so much fun. Sally, you know, we've been in history and we've been on the travel, but you can't have a nice travel adventure without the fabulous food.
Food. That's true, Laura. This country of England just has amazing things to offer. Afternoon tea, you know, you might have a cup of tea anytime along the way, or tea and scones, sticky puddings. You can relax over cream tea. And of course, the dessert that the Eton Mess created in the school where Charles and the princes attended. Well, for old English fun, you have to have fish and chips, Laura. Have I made you hungry yet?
Yes, you have. And it's not lunchtime yet.
I know.
So that's just touching the highlights of all the wonderful foods and drink that you can have while you're on this trip in England. You know, the best way to keep our vacation balanced, it really is to walk off all those goodies. The highlight of our trip is walking the Cotswolds, of course. Why is this such a special place? Well, England has kept their right to roam. It is the right of the public to get to roam on private property on the Cotswolds walking paths. You'll wander through various forms of gates and you'll enter one farm and then into another. You just shut the gates behind you. You'll walk by the bramble shrubs, the natural fencing, and you could even eat a berry or two. And our wonderful guide, Andrew, well, he shows us the ones that are good to eat. Your views will be of the natural woods, herds of dairy cows, sheep, horses, and even a picnic on ancient castle grounds. We wander through quaint villages and babbling brooks, and we end up at the village of Broadway and get to stay at the centuries-old hotel where kings and even Oliver Cromwell stayed.
And that's not all, Laura. Whether we're walking on the trails or through the villages, we also take time to smell the roses. And flowers abound in England at this time of the year. It's just amazing, a plethora of different flowers and so on. One of the highlights of our itinerary is to go to Hidcote, and it was originally part of the English system way back in King Henry VIII, but then he kind of did away with all those wonderful things, and it was for sale, and for sale was turned into a farmhouse, and then all of a sudden this gentleman decided he would buy this for his mother who lived in America, and so Lawrence Johnston purchased this. He had a penchant for flowers. He loved flowers, and so he went to South Africa, to China and the Alps. He collected all kinds of plantings and flowers, and we can wander through those gardens and see and smell the roses and all the other flowers too.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this one gentleman has made it so when you visit England, you can go to this fabulous garden and see all these plants that he brought back. Well, that's not the only garden you get to see.
No.
We also ventured to Highgrove Garden. It's the royal estate of King Charles. Truly a beautiful landscape garden, complete with stumpery. Yes, I said stumpery. Nothing goes to waste in this garden. Fallen trees have been creatively preserved to create a magical place. So the moss grows and they take on these interesting magical shapes. And you'll also get to see the treehouse where the Princes William and Harry spent many hours. And you'll enjoy a fabulous lunch and a visit to, of course, you have to have a visit to the gift shop. Sally, what other fun sights will they see?
Oh my goodness. I can hardly even get them all in, but you get to go into churches, various and appropriate churches, the ones that are just beautifully done, ruins. Sometimes you just run into, we did, a fabulous craft show. These ladies of a village were having a craft show. There were signs out. And we said to Andrew, do you think we can just go in and see about them? Of course, we've got time. So we took a little meander off the trail, and we were able to visit with these lovely ladies from England and buy some of their wares that they had made. And then we, in our group, also got to see an old-fashioned Punch and Judy show. And that was a lesson in England in itself.
If that's true, we have the itineraries set, but little serendipitous things like that will happen, and we take the time out to do them. Also, don't think that you're going to be walking the whole time or doing a set plan. We give you lots of free time as well when we get to different locations. So you can explore on your own, you can go shopping, you can just do a variety of things. Now, one of the other things that we go on this itinerary is the summer home of William Morris, Kelmscott Manor. He was a British textile designer, poet, artist, printer, fantasy writer, an all-around Renaissance guy. An enchanting place where we can take time out for a picnic under the weeping willows and beside the lazy River Thames. You might want to know what you should pack on a trip like this, Sally, so we're going to give you that information right now. We want to show you the items that will make this trip perfect for you. Sally, what do you recommend in the area of footwear?
Well, yes, I think footwear, since you're hiking, is one of the very important parts. Now, I have high hiking boots, but because of the weight of these, as opposed to my short hiking boots and good soles that have good safety features on it, I chose these, and it was much cheaper to put these in my luggage than anything else. Mm-hmm. You have all kinds of things like this, and what other things would you recommend for your tour?
I just happen to have my hiking poles.
Of course. That's
you
a
don't,
must.
if you don't want to have them, that's fine. But so many on our trips have taken the advantage of having these on hand. And there are many brands, but what I recommend is that don't just grab any pair off the shelf. Take a look at them, do the telescoping so you can get the length that you want, because I found not all of them are made for tall people. So I found a pair that worked just fine, so your elbow is straight and you've got a good grip and you can do lots of walking. Now, the next thing I want to show you, on my first trip there, one of the travelers had made a quilted carrying case. Now, I'm not that industrious, so I decided to buy this. And what's fun about this, it keeps my hiking poles in there, out of my way. I sling it over my shoulder, so when we go into little stores and villages, maybe to get an ice cream cone, I'm not worried about, having them trip somebody because I've got them standing beside me. And then you can actually find all these wonderful little patches of your travels and adhere it to the bag and make that a little fun souvenir as well. So, we don't stop there though, because you'll always want to carry sunscreen and of course water, and a hat is a good thing. I have my hat back there, which actually I found a patch that says Walking the Cotswolds, so another little souvenir.
And your mentioning water reminds me about when you have your hiking shoes. Some of the ladies had their regular tennis shoes, but they had waterproofed them. And they got along just fine with those too. And I'm sorry I forgot that in there.
Nope. That's good to know, because that's easy to do. In fact, I think when we recommend and we have our little advanced meetings where you get to meet everyone on Zoom, that's the kind of thing we talk about, because some people don't want hiking boots, they don't want to have to pack them, and so they can take their regular comfortable walking shoes, spray them with that, and they'll be just fine.
That's right.
So this again is Women of the Midwest, our Facebook page. Please join us there, like us, and see what we're up to. Then go to our website. That's womenofthemidwest.com/journeys, where you can find out all about the trips that we're doing, as well as the Cotswolds. Well, it's time for Sally and I to settle in and have a little bit of tea. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, But it's bye for now. But remember, find us on Facebook and womenofthemidwest.com/journeys. And Sally, since we're having a spot of tea,
Oh, a little sugar.
would you like a little bit of sugar for your tea?
A little bit of sugar. Oh, good.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
so
Let's-
much.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Have
to
a good
you
day
all.
and join
Happy
us.
travels.
Take care.